Welcome to The Explainer. We are embarking on a truly fascinating journey today, literally mapping the human mind. Because let's face it, the ultimate puzzle of human nature lies in understanding the hidden mechanics behind our behaviors, right? Today, we're exploring a comprehensive psychological framework designed to do exactly what our title says, revealing the secrets of human psychology. We're going to break down these complex ideas into clear, highly digestible concepts, unpacking the absolute root causes of human action and tracing the exact sequence of how our minds operate. I want you to think about a recent choice you made. Seriously, it could be something as simple as what you had for breakfast this morning, or something massive like a career change or a major purchase. Why did you make that specific choice? What were the hidden mechanics operating behind the scenes in your brain? Well, this is the fundamental mystery that drives the entire study of psychology. We constantly make decisions, yet rarely do we actually stop to examine the invisible machinery that produces those choices. Here is our roadmap for today. First, secrets of human psychology. Second, fundamentals and decision-making. Third, the formation of attitudes. Fourth, how values influence attitudes. And finally, schools of psychology. Let's dive in. Section 1. Secrets of human psychology. Equipping participants with the fundamentals of psychology is absolutely our critical first step. Before anyone can even attempt to decode highly complex human behaviors or navigate intricate interpersonal conflicts, they just have to be grounded in the foundational principles of how the mind actually operates. Establishing this baseline understanding is a total prerequisite. It ensures we're all speaking the exact same language before moving into the deeper waters of behavioral analysis. Moving right along to Section 2, Fundamentals and Decision-Making. We need to look really closely at this concept of how a human does the decision-making. Notice the phrasing there. It's not just about what we decide, but the active, mechanical process of how we actually do it. Treating decision-making not as some spontaneous, magical event, but as a systematic process, that changes everything. It means choice is an observable mechanism. By basically taking apart the engine of human choice, we can analyze how the gears turn together and ultimately predict or understand really complex behavioral outcomes. So, where do these decisions actually come from? Our choices don't just appear out of thin air. They have a source, a definitive root cause. If we understand that choices are simply the end result of a much longer internal process, we're naturally compelled to trace that process backward. To truly understand a decision, we have to look at exactly what happens in the brain right before the decision is finalized. Which brings us to Section 3, the formation of attitudes. As you might guess, decisions simply don't happen in a vacuum. They are heavily driven by our underlying attitudes. And the thing is, these attitudes are entirely constructed over time. Think about a strong preference you hold for a particular brand or a specific work methodology. You weren't born with that preference, right? It was formed through a combination of repeated experiences, learned beliefs, and environmental conditioning. Those constructed attitudes now act as these invisible filters, directly dictating your everyday choices regarding those exact subjects. Section 4. How values influence attitudes. Okay, so our deepest, most fiercely held human values act as our true north. And these values actively form and influence our attitudes. So if we trace the behavioral chain backward, it creates this incredibly logical, structured pathway. Look at it like this. Step 1 is human values, which directly leads to Step 2, the formation of attitudes. And those attitudes subsequently drive our decision-making. Understanding this cause and effect relationship is huge. It allows us to trace virtually any human action back to its absolute root cause in our foundational value system. And finally, Section 5, Schools of Psychology. Now, psychology is not a monolith. It's actually a vast collection of different thought paradigms and historical frameworks. This is so important to keep in mind because different experts can look at the exact same chain of values, attitudes, and decisions, yet interpret the internal mechanics entirely differently. For instance, behaviorists might view a choice strictly through the lens of external conditioning, while cognitive psychologists might focus heavily on internal mental processing. Understanding these different paradigms gives us a really multifaceted lens through which to view human behavior. So, what we have here is a complete map, from fundamentals to values and decisions. This architecture starts with the absolute basics of human psychology. It introduces the observable engine of choice, traces those choices backward to constructed attitudes, and then anchors those attitudes firmly in core human values. Finally, it wraps that entire behavioral chain in the rich context of various psychological paradigms. Honestly, it's a wonderfully comprehensive framework for decoding human nature. So, thinking about your own core values, the attitudes you've formed over time, and the very mechanical choices you make every single day, I'll leave you with this. Which school of psychology governs your decisions today?